Okay then. Hey, just recorded the pose for the thumbnail. In case you were wondering, I'm pretty sure you could figure that out because, hey, you saw the thumbnail before you clicked on. But hey, good to see you, QED coders. I'm Michael. We are going to be trying to create a 403. We are trying to demonstrate a new security feature. Jan's not going to be joining us today. I will keep the chat open. Hopefully we'll have some other folks joining us. But looks like everything is working well. So let's talk about distribution rules. Okay, I'm going to start with... let me start with... Let's see, that one doesn't show my... There it is. There's my picture. Hey! Okay, let's start with the description of distribution rules as it now exists. So we are now looking at the starter. I don't want to look at the starter quite yet. I want to look at... Here we go. Yeah. Let's look at the unit tests for distribution rules. So, where we last left off, you could define distribution rules by saying that I distribute these facts to everyone, or I distribute these facts to only this user or these certain users. So I've updated the syntax a little bit. And so here we want to get the distribution rules from the blog model. So here's the blog model, and it's got things like the blog, a post that's in the blog by a particular author, whether that post was published, comments by authors of the comment, approval, and so these are different things you can have in the blog. The blog itself has a creator, and we have authorization rules that say that if somebody creates a blog, that's the shape of the model. Where's the authorization rules? I guess I didn't write the authorization rules for this model. Wasn't used in this test. But yeah, the only person who can create a blog is the one indicated as the blog creator. And then they're also the only ones who can create posts. This particular model doesn't have the guest author feature, but that is a possibility. So in this simple example, we've got a distribution rule that says I'm going to share. So I've changed the words here. So now it's about sharing. What am I going to share? I'm going to share, given a blog, all facts of type post, where the post blog is equal to that blog, and there exists a publish for that post. So I'm going to share published posts given a blog, and I'm going to share that with everyone. So that means that if you're logged in, if you're not logged in, doesn't matter. You can execute this particular specification and get back the published posts for any blog. Now, the creator can see all the posts, not just the published posts. So we've got the same specification here, facts of type post, but it does not have the exists clause. So we don't have to constrain our posts to just those that are published. So we've got all the posts, and we want to share that with the blog's creator. So the with specification starts with the same parameters as the same givens as the share specification. So who can actually run that specification? Well, just the blog's creator. Now I've got similar things for the comments. the blog's creator can see all of the comments. So here I do a select many in order to go from the post down to the comments. And a comment author can see their own comments on published posts. So we're back to where exists published. And then here we do the select many, and we join not just on the post, but also on the comment author. So this is a given that takes two parameters. So given a blog and an author, this constrains it to just the comments by that author. And so a comment author can see their own comments. And so we have the width to say that, yep, this is for that particular comment author. Okay. So these are the distribution rules for the blog model. And so I've got some tests that show that these distribution rules work. Tests are great. I love test-driven development, but they're not sufficient. I want to see this thing actually working. And that's what I've been working on for the past week, and I am almost there. So I am hopeful that in this hour we'll be able to see a 403. We'll be able to see that you can ask for a particular specification. You'll get back a 403 saying nope, cannot, has. And so the way that I want to do that is with the starter kit. So I've got starter TypeScript React. And if you recall, this is a little bitty application that uses Jinaga server as well as Jinaga client, and it lets you log in and it counts the number of visitors. So we've got things like, I'm hitting the query endpoint because this is using the old mechanism, not the new mechanism. So here's the old query syntax. And then I am loading the results, doing another query, loading those results. Here I'm doing a save, so I'm saving the fact that that I am a visitor. So this is the specific visit. You can see it's got a field in there which is the time of the visit. So pretty simple little application, just counting visitors. And it's doing this login. You can see that it's logging me in. Here's my user fact. It's got a public key that it generated for me in the key store. And the profile, this comes from Twitter because I'm doing the login with Twitter. So let's well, I don't have the logout feature here. So if I were to clear the cache right here, let's start that back up again. If I were to clear the cache, then it would say, hey, I don't know who you are, sign in with Twitter. So we've got a login failed. Good. Then I sign in with Twitter. Twitter says, I know who you are. Let's go back to the application. And there we are. We're logged in. So we've got all of that stuff. Okay. Didn't mean to switch to that one. Okay. So what I want to do now is to upgrade to the latest Jinaga, and let's see if we can get some 403s. Let's see if we can fix these authorization rules. Okay, let's stop that. If we look npm outdated, we will see that right now in addition to a few other things that are outdated. The Jinaga library is on 4.1.3. Jinaga server is on 1.1.4. And since then, I have 5.4, 2.4. So these are the versions that include distribution rules. So I'm going to npm install Jinaga latest and Jinaga server latest. So first of all, let's just see if updating like this breaks anything in the build. These are jumps in semver, which is why I had to do install instead of update. And yeah, so the API might not be exactly the same. So I want to npm run build just to see, can I do the webpack for the server side? Can I do the TSC for the, TSC for the server side, webpack for the client side? Do they both work? And it looks like they do. Excellent. All right, no compile errors. Do I have any tests for this one? I think I did set up tests. Yeah, and the test still passed. Okay, great. All right, so now I have a Jinaga server. You can see it's pointing at a Postgres database. So this is just the database configuration that if you were to follow the instructions on how to set up your own Docker image, these would be the parameters that it gives you. And so I have that image running right here. So dev pw my application, and that is running. So my database is working, as we could see, because it was counting the visits. So now you can see that it is connecting to that database for two reasons. One for the store, that stores all the facts. The other one for the key store, which stores user identity. That gives each user a public key and a private key. Those two things are both necessary in order for us to set up authorization, because we need the user identity for authorization, and then also to set up distribution. So far, let's take a look at authorization. We can see we're configuring authorization with authorize visit and authorize user. Authorize visit says any domain, and a visit for the specific user of that visit. And this is using the old syntax, but these authorization rules still work. And this is saying that anybody can post a domain fact at me, and if somebody posts a visit fact at me, then they had better be logged in as that particular user that they claim to be. So we've got authorization rules around the visit model. The visit model is not all that interesting. What I'd really prefer to have is the blog model. That will let me do some really interesting things. Well, do I want to do that? Let me think. Yeah, because otherwise, what authorization or what distribution rule could I write? So let's bring in the blog model. So here is the blog model from the test. I am just going to copy this whole thing. There it is. There's copy. And I'm going to paste it into shared model. Boom. Now I've got the blog model. And so distribution rules, user, build model, these don't come from source because I'm not testing. These come from Jinaga. So let's add that import. So we've got build model, and we've got distribution rules. Okay. So for this demo, I won't do the authorization rules yet. It's possible to have just distribution rules, no authorization rules, and so every fact is authorized, so you can save anything you want. Oh, but if you want to run a query, then you have to follow the distribution rules. I know, that's kind of weird, but maybe if we've got a little bit of time at the end, I'll add the authorization rules. I want to get to a 403 on read. Okay, so here we are back at Jinaga config, and I don't want to use the visit. So instead, what I want is, I'm not going to have any authorization rules at all for right now. So don't need that. Instead, what I want are the distribution rules for blog. So distribution, you can see distribution is a function that takes distribution rules, and then it follows a fluent syntax in order to set those up. So what I have here are distribution rules for this particular blog. So I'm going to set that to the export const distribution from blog model. Yeah, so let's make sure I bring that in. Import distribution from blog model. Okay, there we go. All right, so run those distribution rules. Okay. Now what I should have is that when the client tries to run a query, it should get a 403 because the query that it runs has nothing to do with the blog model. And so that'll be our first 403. Then we'll try to get more interesting 403s out of this thing. But let's give that a shot first. So we'll do an npm run test dev. That does the build, starts the server. It's listening at 8080 now, and let's see what happens. Let's go ahead and clear that. Okay, so we're going to sign in with Twitter. Goodness, what is with all these logins? That's a lot of logins. I'm gonna have to look into that. That's not healthy. Okay, yeah, there's definitely something going wrong here. But at the very least, we're doing this XHR, where we are trying to call. Yeah, we're not yet on the Jinaga login. So we do our sign in with Twitter, redirects back, and now this is where we get, okay, this is interesting. We get a 404. Now, recall just a little while ago we looked at this query endpoint and we saw, yeah, it's running a query and it's getting back some information. So the query endpoint existed before. What happened? The /query endpoint is the old syntax for specifications, and so this is also an old protocol. That particular pipeline syntax does not support distribution rules. And so if you supply distribution rules, I shut off this endpoint. I say, okay, that's a signal that your application is now moving forward to the new specification syntax. So I'm going to shut off this endpoint. If I didn't shut off the endpoint, then that means that your carefully crafted distribution rules on the /read or /feeds side aren't getting run when you do a /query. Somebody just go right around them and craft a query that pulls all the information back from your database, your replicator. Nope, don't want that. So shut it off. Don't even worry about trying to to protect it. It's like, you can't run distribution rules, you're gone. So, okay, that's good, but that's a 4.4. We want a 4.3. I want to actually see that I am running those distribution rules. So let's see if, okay, I want to make sure that I load a good workspace here. Yeah. You know what? Here's the workspace that I've got right now. I think I might want to just start some new. I don't think that I'll be able to modify these to get them quite what I want. So, yeah, this is like the improving use stuff. Let's take a look here. Yeah, I'll just start a new collection. And this is going to be the blog model. Okay. Now, what I want to do here is to pretend to be logged in using Twitter. So let me take a look at the authorization. Let's see. Oh yeah, this is all cookie based. All right. That is fine. Yeah, this one is not yet using bearer tokens. But I think we can manage to grab this cookie. Application, cookies. Here is the session cookie that works for my particular localhost instance. So let's go to the blog. Authorization. Is this going to be in authorization? This is bearer tokens. Basic auth. I might just need to do this per request. Okay. So let's start with the request. That first of all, we were going to want to do a read. So let's read the, well, first of all, we need to set up some data, right? So let's write posts, and the headers we are going to have, let's see, headers. No, we don't want headers. We want the cookies. How do we set up the cookies? Oh, there's the cookies. Yeah, it's over there. Manage cookies. Okay. Oh, yeah, I forgot about this sync cookies thing. I can probably intercept localhost. Let's see. If I do that, did it grab the cookie, or does it need local host 8080? Let's see, do I have the interceptor turned on? Postman interceptor is turned on, yeah. Boom. Oh, okay, it grabbed it. All right, there we've got the connection SSID. Excellent, all right. All right, so we've got the cookie. That means that when we talk to this Jinaga backend, then it's going to be using that cookie in order to know who we are. And we are logged in using Twitter. So I'm going to do a localhost 8080/Jinaga/write, and then send in the body raw text. So first of all, I'm going to say that the user, being a Jinaga user, is equal to me. So that's the logged in user. And then I want to, actually I'll call that creator so that I can say that a blog, being a blog, I need to use exactly the same names as this model, so it's just blog. So we've got creator and we've got domain. Okay, so I need to pass in, that's going to be the creator and the domain, which is going to be qdcode.com. Okay, so I send those in, and cannot get, oh, I didn't mean to get, I meant to post. Send those in. All right, created. I created some facts. That was easy because there are no authorization rules, but even if there were authorization rules, I think it would have passed because the creator is me. So now let's see if I can create a post. So I'm going to say that I have a post. Let's take a look at the post. That is a blog, an author, and created at. So the blog is this thing. The author is the creator. That's me. And created at is a date. So let's go with 223/06/22T, and then it's about 8 in the morning CST plus 5/13/27. Oh yeah, I'd advertise the time is 1300 UTC. Yeah, so there we go. That's about the current time. So I create a post. Very good. All right. Now I've got some data in there. Let's do one more thing with that post. I'm going to publish that post. So the fact type here is publish. It's got a post and a date. So publish equals, got the post and the date, which is 223/06/22T13, and we'll go 1 minute later, 28. I got this wrong, didn't I? 00 dot. Yeah. I think that'll still parse, but just to be sure, let's create a second post that's got the correct time format. Yeah. Okay. So I actually now have two posts. Once I send this, one of them is published, the other one is not. The one that's not published doesn't have the correct seconds format. But we will see what we will see. It's just sending that in as a string. You can see this is a date or a string. The reason for that is that when we create this publish from the application, we want to send in a date. But as soon as we JSON serialize it, it becomes a string, and it will always be a string. So this string, there's no code that parses it back to a date. It's just going to always come back as a string. So we'll be stuck with that improperly formatted post, and that'll be fine. Okay, so we've got a couple of facts in our database. Now let's see if we can do a read. So I'm going to add a request, read posts. So this one is also going to be post. It's going to be to 8080/Jinaga/read, and we are going to have the same cookies. Yeah, so cookies are not per request. Are they per? I'm kind of curious. Are they per collection? No, they don't seem to be. They seem to be per workspace, which is weird. But at any rate, in general, we won't want to use cookies. We'll want to use bearer tokens. So let's read. What do I want to read? I want to start with the post. I want to start with this blog right here. So let's do the read. And, oops, that's not the body. Here's the body. Okay, so I'm going to start with this blog. Now this syntax, even though it's the same syntax I used to post the blog, now that I'm using read, this just sets up that variable. I'm not actually creating the blog here. This allows me to set up a specification. And so given blog of type blog, and it's just going to match that name against the variables that are declared up here. Now I want to bring back all the posts. So give me post of type post, where post blog, I believe that's right. Yeah. Post blog, yes. Being of type blog is equal to the blog. Okay. What do you think? Can I run this? I'm thinking I cannot because I'm looking for all posts. Wait a minute, actually, yeah, I should be able to run it because I am the blog's creator and I've got the cookie in there to prove it. So, okay, we got the syntax here. Expected open parentheses, but found creator. Oh, that's right. Let's. So did the other one actually work? Interesting. Oh, okay, interesting. Well, we got a 403. We got a 403, but this time I did not expect a 403. Let me go back to write. I think I left off the let here. I think the let is necessary, but it should have given me a better error message, or an error message, if that were the case. Yeah, okay, gotta work on the error messages. And furthermore, that shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter whether there's data in the database or not. This should check to see, oh, wait a minute, okay, yeah. So the reason this was unauthorized, here we go. The reason this was unauthorized is that the blog that I defined here is just a parameter. I'm not actually creating the blog. This is where I was creating the blog. But because I didn't have let and I'm not doing good error messages, this blog didn't actually exist in the database. So now I've got a parameter. It says, look for this blog in the database and then tell me who the creator is. And then I'll tell you if the person logged in is that creator. That's how it's running the distribution rule. It's not executing that lookup for the creator based on the parameter. It has to check the database for that. It's being very strict about that. So, since it didn't exist, can't run that that specification. The specification comes back with no users. So, unauthorized. But now that it does exist, boom, I get back the posts. I only get back the one post. Oh, that's right, because when I ran it with the incorrect syntax, it didn't actually create anything. Okay, so I get back the one post. Excellent. Now, let's log off. No more session ID. When I try to execute this, not being logged on, could not get a response. Let's see. Oh, it's trying to redirect to login. Okay, that's because I'm not using bearer tokens. All right, so. Okay, we can make this work. We can be logged in as a different person. So, we've got, we have the cookie now. That's weird. Let's sync cookies. Oh, it's still syncing. Okay. So yeah, we got us a cookie. Now let's stop syncing. We've got to connect SSID. And all right, I'm back to where I can query for all posts. Now, what I want to do is to, I want to, since I don't have any authorization rules, I want to go ahead and authorize as a different user. So first of all, let me go ahead and project this post so that I can see the creator. So that's going to be this is actually going to kind of mess things up a bit. All right, yeah, let's not worry about that. The way that I'm going to do this is when I write the post, the creator's not going to be me. The creator will be a different Jinaga user. So it'll have a public key and some other key. Since it didn't come from the key store, there's no balancing private key to go with it. It's just like, hey, this other user over here that I don't know anything about, except for their public key, which I just now made up. And so I'm going to create a post at michaelperry.net. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and update this time as well. So this would be 36 and this would be 37, just so that we can see all the differences. So no authorization rules, so it allows me to create that that user. So now read posts. I'm still logged in, but I'm logged in as Michael L. Perry from Twitter. Here, as Michael L. Perry from Twitter, I'm going to try to read all posts from a different creator who created a different blog. Now I should get unauthorized. Yes, excellent. Okay. I am not authorized to see all of the posts because I am not the creator of that blog. But what if I wanted to see the posts that were what if I wanted to see the posts? Let me go ahead and leave that on the screen for a little bit because I might want to use that in the thumbnail too. Okay. I want to see all the posts that are published. So where exists, publish, and I'm going to say publish is the type. Just double checking that. Publish is the type. Yes. All the published such that publish blog post, sorry, publish post being of type post is equal to post. So if there exists a publish for that post, then it's a published post, and everybody should be able to see it, including this guy who logged in from Twitter. So, does it work? It does. Excellent. It gives me back the post, but only if I have this exists clause. All right, so that is how distribution rules work in the real world with HTTP. So we can ask a question, but if the question is not complete, then we can't ask it. So I want to ask for the posts unless I am constraining my question so that I only get the published posts. I cannot ask the question unless I am the author, in which case it works. Okay, now this is read and write. Let's talk about feeds. Okay, so Save that. Save that. Oh, wait a minute, this one. Save that. Yeah, that way we see these are both posts. Okay. Now let's try to get some feeds. So read and write are what a human would use in order to populate a replicator, but that's not what the library uses. So let's add a request called feeds. Feeds for my blog. Okay. So here I'm going to do a post to 8080 login feeds. Let's not do this part quite yet. I want all of the feeds. And I don't think that the slash needs to be there, but I don't think it hurts if it is. Okay, so I'm going to get feeds for my blog. That means I need a read body, and so this is what I want, except here we're talking about my blog, so let's get me, and the domain is qdcode.com, and I want to get all of the posts. So if I do this, then this is going to get me back all of the feeds for that particular blog. Then I'm going to come in here and I'm going to add another request, and this is going to get from that feed. And so here is the feeds endpoint. We want to get from that particular feed right there. So let's copy that. This is a get that URL. And there's a bookmark which initially has an empty value. So we can see it didn't add the bookmark to the end of the URL. I thought it usually did. Oh, wait, that's headers. Nope, not headers. We want the parameters, query parameters, yes. So bookmark, empty, there we go. Question B, empty bookmark. It can be there, it can be absent, either one. It's an empty bookmark. It's starting from the beginning of the feed. So there's no body. This is a get. So we're getting from that particular feed that we already got back from asking for feeds from my blog. So send that. And oh, wow. Interesting. This is telling me that this particular database was not set up for the latest version of Jinaga. I set this up before that. Okay. So yeah, I'm getting this error from Postgres. Here we go. And Postgres is saying that the sort function on an array of integers does not exist. That's because there's a package that I use in order to produce the to sort the facts in the feed. Okay. Let's see if we can make this happen real quick. Let me go to the Jinaga server. Oh. And let's take a look at the SQL, the setup SQL, and we can see right here, this is how we turn on that int array extension, which installs that sort function. So, in a newer version of the database, we would have this already set up. But in this version, apparently we don't. So I'm going to do pg SQL. It's not pSQL. Oh, yeah, it is pSQL. Okay. So root, so pSQL, the user is, I think the user is Postgres. So let's do /u Postgres. There we go. We're logged in. So now we'll want to connect to the database, which is my application. And then if I select star from public.facts. Oh, let's see. I think let's see, my application semicolon. No, actually, I think I just got that backwards. My application. Now we're connected to my application as user Postgres. Perfect. Okay. So if I select star from public facts, relation public facts does not exist. Oh, that's right. I don't use plural, I use singular. Okay. We are on the right database. Perfect. Now, let's take this statement right here and run that. Created the extension. All right. And so we still have this guy running, but now the database knows about that extension. So if I run this, excellent. Okay, I'm able to get back the facts from that feed. Perfect. Wow, that was a nice little side tangent. Okay. Now, the last part of this is I want to take these references. Let me just copy this whole thing right here. No, actually, I just need the references portion of it. I don't need the bookmarks. And I want to load those facts in order to get their information. So I'm going to come in here. I'm going to create another request. This is going to be load facts. This is a post. I'm going to post to Jinaga/load, and the body is going to be that set of references. So I want to load the details about those references because I don't yet have them in my local database. So let's run that. Cannot read properties of undefined reading every. Interesting. All right, we might have found a nice little bug here. Let's see, so distribution cache includes all. Yeah, here I am. Okay. Yeah, these fact references. Okay, I think I just got the syntax wrong. Maybe I just pass in the array. No? Let's take a look at that real quick. We've already done some debugging on the stream. Let's do this one more time. This is exciting. Okay, so I've got the application running there. Let's go to, yeah, here we are in Jinaga server. So I'm going to look at source HTTP router, and I've got the load. Here we go. Here are all the routes. Load calls this method here, which is a load message, and it has references, references being fact reference array. So that is the proper syntax. Type hash. Interesting. Oops. So once I load, I do the authorization load, and that is the key store authorization. This is the wrong version. The key store authorization should have, yeah, there we go. That's a lot better. Should have a load that checks the distribution engine and checks the distributive facts to see if that includes all of these references. Includes all, removes the old batches, and then looks for references. We've got every right here. So it says references is undefined. So this guy right here, references, being a fact reference array, is undefined. And that comes from not query, but load. That comes from load message references, which we have here. Okay, well, there's definitely some debugging to do. But what this would return is the details about that post. So all of its fields and all of its predecessors and all of their fields and their predecessors. It would give you the entire upward facing cone. So we can get the feeds for my blog. Let's see if I can get the feeds for somebody else's blog. So let's add a request. Feeds for others blog. Okay. So this is going to be just like this guy. I'm going to post here. And then the body is going to be this. So I've got the different key as the creator, body, raw, text, boom. So I've got the different key as the creator. So now this is saying, all right, you're looking for somebody else's posts. I am not going to, well, isn't that interesting? That was supposed to give you a 403. It's supposed to say, I'm not going to let you get the feeds. Oh, wait a minute. All right, yes. I can get the published feeds for a different user, but I cannot get, there we go. Okay. I cannot get the the unpublished feeds. I can't get all feeds from a different user, but I can get those feeds from my blog, all the feeds. Somebody else? No, unauthorized. Okay, yeah. So a little bit of detail here. If I were to be able to log in as a different user and then try to get facts from this feed, then I would get 403. I'm not authorized to get facts from this feed. And furthermore, if I were to try to load some fact references that came from a feed that I wasn't authorized to load from, I would get a 403. So I wish I could show you those things, but I can't log in as a different user without creating a different Twitter account. We're just about out of time anyway, so that is 403s. We did it. We absolutely smashed it. Yeah, let's get back to the talkie. Cool, and that's hey, what can I say? We've got 403s working. So the next step is to grab the latest version of Jinaga server in the replicator as a service, so that I can add distribution rules for your replicator data. And that way, I would feel a lot safer putting some secret information into the Jinaga database, knowing that only you could gain access to that information. So it's coming along. Next week, Jan will be back, and we will continue building up Replicator as a service and talking about Jinaga.net using SQLite. Until then, have a great one.